Chapter 12. Early the next morning, after rising at 6 to cook a huge vat of oatmeal and learn some more valuable kitchen skills, like how to stir 20 pounds of mush with a wooden spoon the size of a boat oar, Max was informed that she would be going to school. NYU? She asked eagerly. No, the stern matron replied. You're 12 years old, correct? Yes, ma'am. Then you belong in middle school with all the other 12-year-old boys and girls. But, the matron gave her an icy look. Max took the hint, and she quit protesting. Of course, it was totally ridiculous for the powers at the Little Angels foster care facility to insist she go to a regular school. Max may have been young and somewhat small, but she had all that unlimited potential and mental energy bottled up inside her. Just ask Dr. Einstein. Besides, she had finished everything the seventh grade had to teach her about math and science when she was 7. She found an old notebook in a thrift shop when she was young. There was a big 7 on the cover. Max had thought it meant you were supposed to learn the material between the covers when you were 7 years old. So she did. Shake a leg, said the driver as Max and all the other foster kids between the ages of 11 and 14 piled into the van heading for the nearest Brooklyn middle school. Max went to the classes she was supposed to go to. She didn't say a word during English, or math, or even social studies. In science, she focused on the dusty shaft of sunlight that streamed through a window and illuminated her desk like a heavenly spotlight. What would it be like, she thought, to ride that beam of light? Legend had it, this was how Einstein first started contemplating the theory of relativity. He was riding a bicycle, saw a sunbeam, and let his mind wander. What would it be like to ride behind a sunbeam to the edge of the universe? Max knew that daydreams, the kind that Mr. Kennedy teased her about, often led to the most important scientific discoveries, so she drifted off. She chased that dusty sunbeam right out the window. She followed it through space and time. This is what Dr. Einstein used to call a thought experiment, ideas that he played with in his mind instead of the laboratory. Maybe it was the trance-like nature of the thought experiment, or the fact that Max had so much difficulty drifting off to sleep the night before, or the warmth of the sunshine on her face. But as she chased that beam in her brain, her eyes grew heavy. The shaft of quivering light felt warm and cozy beside her. The universe was lulling her to sleep. Suddenly, far off, somewhere in the dark distance near the edge of the universe, Max heard someone calling her name. Miss Einstein. Miss Einstein. That was followed by a bang of a wooden ruler against a desk. The teacher. Max had fallen asleep in class. A bell rang. It was definitely time for Max to wake up. It was also time for her to move on to the next class. But first she apologized to the teacher. I am sorry, sir, she told him. I didn't mean any disrespect. Sometimes my mind wanders off, and I need to chase after it. Not in my class, you don't, said the teacher. Here we stay focused and memorize the answers to the questions we know will be on the state science test. Do I make myself clear, Miss Einstein? Yes, sir. The teacher looked at her suspiciously. Einstein. Is that your real name? Yes, said Max, because as far as she knew, she was telling the truth. Any relation to Dr. Albert Einstein? No, said the teacher sarcastically. The brothers who make the bagels. Not to my knowledge, sir. The teacher waved her off. Memorize the formula in Chapter 3 by tomorrow, and don't you dare fall asleep in my class again, young lady. Yes, sir. No, sir. Max stuck to herself and muddled through the rest of her school day. At dismissal time, the beat-up van from Little Angels was waiting out front to pick up Max and the other middle schoolers. Once again, she thought about making a run for it. There had to be a subway station close by. Max could race back to the stables, grab her suitcase, and search out a new place to sleep. She could find a new college to attend. Columbia University, way uptown, had excellent courses for her to choose from. She couldn't stand the idea of being stuck in seventh grade, memorizing facts and figures. She couldn't just she just couldn't go along to get along. She couldn't just go along to get along. Yep, that's right. Max took in a deep breath. Oh, she was ready to bolt. But if the men in the suits ever found out about the stables, they could only make life difficult for Mr. Kennedy and Mrs. Rabinowitz. She realized she'd be better off going with her original plan, sneaking off after dark. She just needed to observe and chart the late-night routines of the security staff for a few more days. She could handle a few more days. Time was on her side. She climbed into the van with the rest of the crowd. Max sat in back so she wouldn't have to chit-chat with any of the kids. Max didn't chit-chat very well. When they arrived back at the foster care facility, Max received some very unexpected news. She had visitors.